You stay ready.
I was born ready.
You don't want to miss Mike King Biz Radio, the king of RVA Business Talk Radio on ESPN 106.1 FM, The Choice 105.3, and worldwide on IBGR.network.
Would you join me, please, in welcoming
Mike King Biz Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to On the Mic with Mike, the premier business radio program around. I'm your host, Mike King. I appreciate you being here with me, coming to you from this part of the Mike King Biz Radio Network, which is ESPN Richmond 106.1, 5 to 7 a.m., The Choice 105.3 every day from 2 to 3, as well as International Business Growth Radio. That's why we've taken our talents global, as LeBron would say. But I got with me my partner from radio personality, Dr. Danny.
Howdy.
Alrighty, so this is a special edition of On the Mic with Mike. This is the International Women's Day.
Yes,
and Dr. Danny is here. She is loaded and ready for this conversation.
Yeah, Mike. I mean, let's just be clear. On International Women's Day, when we look at the fact that women hold up half of the world, we are no longer asking permission.
Okay, folks. So what we're saying here is put your seatbelts on and buckle up. This is going to be something today. All right, Dr. Danny, what is it exactly that has gotten you fired up?
Well, let's just start with the first thing that hit me this morning. You know, when I get up in the morning, I'm usually at CNN or ESPN. And when I saw a blurb come across my phone that told me that Calvin Ridley, football player, NFL, $11 million a year.
That's right. So, ladies and gentlemen, typically Mike does not do sports, but this has gone from the back page to the front page. So he bet on sports.
He bet on sports that he was involved in.
$1,500. And it cost him
$11 million.
I don't know. I'm not a gambler, but that does not seem
that sounds like a bet that they saw you coming, bro.
Okay, so Dr. Danny, what is it about that situation? Because you see something there from an institutional standpoint that you don't see as correct.
Well, so when we started having all these issues with CTE and football players being brawlers with their wives and abusive to their children. I remember when what was his name? The guy out of Houston that beat his child's butt.
So
Peterson.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Adrian Peterson
beat his kid,
okay.
But and of course, just to be candid, as a Black parent, I'm like, okay, so he disciplined his child. Yeah. But at the same time,
I was on the other end of I was on both ends of that. On the giving and the getting.
Giving and the getting. But then when you look at the fact that they say that they want to promote healthy relationships between men and women. They don't want any kind of, sexual assaults, people, laying their hands and all of that stuff. But you only get 6 games that you lose if you end up hitting your wife or beating your kids.
Okay, so the rub here is that 6 games for beating your wife or beating your kids.
Right. But a whole season, you lose your whole season.
Okay, so Doc, what do you think the reason is that the NFL will take that stance?
Well, I mean, what can I say? Roger Goodell has been hit with the Me Too stuff. He's seen all of these things. They've put lipstick on the pig. Let me just say that. They've hired a few women to say that we are going to be kinder and gentler to, women's rights, but they have yet to sharpen the pencil when it comes to having commensurate accountability for when women are abused versus when their sensibilities about someone gambling on sports are abused.
So do you think from a business standpoint that what affects them more, that if they took a stance on women getting abused or gambling on sports? Clearly, it seems to be like the gambling. They
are betting that the impact of more players gambling on sports, it would hurt their pocketbooks more. So they want to, how you do overkill on something so your kids know that is something you don't do again. It's like, so when the punishment doesn't match the crime, you have an effect of deterring people from even think about doing
because
that.
you know what time it is.
Right.
Okay, so
But you got people, let me just say this, you got people who probably are abusive to women themselves who are signing off on the rules, say, oh, 6 games, that's,
so 6 games.
that ain't even half a season.
That's not all right. So, Dr. Danny, as we're going into this right here, and I'm going to play contrarian here. So, if we're at a lockout with baseball right now, correct?
Shout out to collective bargaining.
Okay, so you're a big fan of.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying,
Okay,
I'm a big
okay.
fan of workers' rights.
Okay,
Let me
so
just
here,
say that.
Let's go with this right here. So we're talking sports here. Mike King, Dr. Danny here. This is ESPN Richmond. We're in a lockout for baseball. Does the average person know that spring training is not going on right now?
Well, the average fan does.
Okay,
I mean,
average,
actually, baseball has fell to number 2
yes.
in America's sports.
There-
Basketball is, shout out to the
Okay.
NBA.
All right.
But the truth of the matter is, the average American dealing with a war in Ukraine that they're worried about whether or not their sons or daughters are going to be sent into war, that's dealing with, Delta Macron or whatever, the new little variant that they've been talking about, that's dealing with trying to, get back to work and go back in, and mask, no mask,
And
etc.
gas prices that you got to take out a loan for. Okay.
Oh,
so,
wait a minute. This is a joke I have. Did you see this one? Unleaded, an arm, unleaded plus, a leg, and premium, both.
that shows you how expensive gas prices are.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
so Dr. Danny, so the world has not stopped because of baseball.
It hasn't, but
Okay, all right,
but
okay.
we're gonna feel it.
Okay, so here, go with me. When the NBA does not play because of a work stoppage or whatever, does the world stop?
My world does.
Not
yeah.
you, yes, that's you because you care about it. Does average America care?
So
you see where I'm
Mike,
going?
I know, but I can't. I disagree, because we are a world in America. Our sports matter to us.
Okay.
It's a distraction. It is something to help us when we come from our job, whether we are an entrepreneur or we work in corporate America. We want to sit down, relax, have a
Okay.
drink, and watch something
So-
entertaining to take our mind off it.
So
So,
what you're
yes, we miss things when our sports are not hitting on all
so
cylinders.
so our sports are not hitting on all cylinders. We want to keep the politics out of the sport.
We need to keep
That's
the
okay.
politics
All right.
out of
So
the
now,
sport.
baseball. Nobody care that baseball is not being played right now,
Okay.
except for a few people.
Okay.
When basketball does not be played, a few less people care about it.
Mhm.
It's not stopping the world. What happens when football stops?
Well, you only have 16 regular season games. So
Yes.
the
Mhm.
impact between going from 130 some games
Mhm.
and then 100 plus in basketball, and then down to, 16 regular season games times what?
Okay.
30 teams. Yeah, you gonna
Okay.
feel
So
that.
now the world can come to an end because people do not want football to stop.
Football, yes.
There is a big number of these people who are fans, who are football fans, who want this to continue to go on, who support the football movement, who happen to be that 50% of the women that you're talking about. How come those women don't stop and say no more
So
and hold football NFL to
we can. So, probably women purchase more of the paraphernalia
for sure?
and so this is a shout out to all women who is getting ready to buy that jersey for their kid. Don't buy it.
Right, because do you
Shut the
think
pocketbooks down.
do you think if it were just for men that the men would be running around with hot pink stuff on for breast cancer month? Because the typical man wouldn't know what month that is.
Without a doubt, women have an influence and an economic impact to be had in the sport of NFL. And we need to call on the powers to be that if you are not going to advance to the point where we have equity and parity as it relates to being treated with the respect that we deserve, and that the penalties for infringing upon a woman are steeper than placing a $1,500 bet. And my understanding is it wasn't just one bet. So it was like a collective of $1,500.
Right.
What were you thinking
Okay, so
about?
here we are. So it's Mike King, Dr. Danny. This is the International Women's Day. We're here, and Dr. Danny is definitely, she's fired up, folks. We're talking. All right. So one of the reasons that Brittany Griner is in the news is because she got caught with drugs in Russia.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Okay, that's right. Allegedly. We don't want the legal thing coming. Why was Brittany Griner in Russia?
Well, this
Here
is
we go.
this is exactly the issue.
That's what we're going down to.
So whether or not we're gonna start a movement like the soccer girls, but because we don't compensate our women athletes, particularly the WNBA, at a level commensurate with their talent, they have to go overseas to earn additional funds, and their liberties are not respected the same way they are in the U.S.
Yes, which gets us to Brittany Griner.
Exactly. She was over there. She was in the off season earning additional funds, and she just happened to get caught up. And my understanding is this was pre-invasion. However, I don't think anything goes to chance when you're dealing with Vladimir Putin. I mean, whatever Brittany was doing when she got caught, she was doing when she got there.
The question is, so now we're right back to the equity in pay that forces pretty much the lowest guy on an NBA team, on a man's team, does not have to go to Latvia to make money.
Not until they washed out of the WNBA. I mean, washed out of the NBA.
And so here we are with that one. So she goes there. So it comes back to the money. So Dr. Danny is part of Women Speaking Sports. That is a show that's here on ESPN. That is Fridays from 6 to 7. Dr. Danny and Steph B are the ones who see the money aspect in it. And we always know where there's smoke, there's fire, and you can also follow the money.
Follow the money. And this is what I'm hearing. Let LeBron get caught in a country, and they're going to move heaven and hell to get him back to the U.S. I even remember when the baller boy, you remember he stole something over in China?
With the sunglasses.
Exactly. But now what I'm hearing is the ability for our government to get Brittany Griner out of Russia is near impossible. That's what I'm hearing. So I'm trying to figure out, again, why don't we see the inequity in the effort that we would do to get, I'm trying to remember that he was either a rookie or maybe he was in last year of college at UCLA. I don't know, but they got him out of that mess in China.
They did.
But they're leaving Brittany over there. She's been over there going more than 3 weeks.
And the crazy part about it was we didn't know until a couple of days ago.
Quiet as it kept.
Okay, so on the mic with Mike, Dr. Danny is here with us. It is International Women's Day. We're talking women's topics. So it's the equity in pay and power moves, it's representation. What else has you going on? Because you had a number of things that you want to touch on today. Well, and a lot of them are kind of tied into the sports aspect.
They are, but the other one that just was on me is that we have an opportunity with this Congress. There's not a lot of good things that seem to be going on that's tied up with our Congress people, our senators and the House of Representatives, because everything is focused on the war and foreign affairs right now. But HR 6441 is the Women's Business Center Modernization Act of 2022. That is something that is it actually has co-sponsorship, bipartisan sponsorship in the House. We're looking to get a senator to sponsor it, or a bipartisan senatorial representation to sponsor it on the Senate side. But that's an opportunity to modernize the Women's Business Center program that's within the US SBA. It increases the funding, it increases the accountability, it gets some standardization that has to do with certification of the centers, because we are on the front line. We're at the mouth of the funnel of helping people get this entrepreneurial train moving. We do know that the middle class of America is the backbone, and we want to keep that strong. And our women are at the core of that movement. So that's another thing as it relates to international women. And I think about the women that I've seen on television over in the Ukraine, when I think about just women internationally, period, if you look at it, women are putting it down. And so it is time for us to not be in the minority when it comes to politics, not in mind share or presence. So I'm saying that we need more women in office. We need the women who are there to hold up the banner, and don't be unapologetically female. It is okay to advance our issues.
So Dr. Danny, she is with the Women's Business Resource Center here in Richmond that is housed at Historic Virginia Union. So she is there. And one of the things we've learned from you is that men will go and get funding. Women, if it ain't in the pocketbook, they're not going to get it, because it kind of goes back to when we were growing up. My father was like, cash is king. And, we don't need credit and terms and all those things. But your idea is like, that may not be the best model.
Well, so again, I come from a mother who gambled. And my mother always said, don't gamble with your own money.
OPM.
Other people's money.
It's always a great,
always a good bet, because you know what?
Thing.
Because you don't have any hesitation. You just do what needs to be done. And so with less than 25% of women entrepreneurs ever seeking money outside of their bank account, we're trying to shift that. I know women who got approved for PPP
and wouldn't take it.
And so we've got to understand that we can grow our business, we can expand, and we can pay back those loans, or most of those loans were forgivable. So even if you used it for your employees, etc., you could apply for forgiveness. So I'm not going to say it was free money, but all you had to do is report it back, how you paid it, and you didn't have to repay that loan. I'm just saying we need to do that, because guess what? We don't get VC funding. So I think over the 20 years that we've been trying to get women with VC ideas going, that 20 years ago, it might've been 1% of VC funding went to a woman-owned business. Now it's 2.3%.
So Danny.
Oh,
ladies and gentlemen, ESPN Richmond, Mike King, Dr. Danny is right here.
Richmond's own Russell Wilson, breaking news.
Russell Wilson just traded to the Broncos. See, that's what happens when you tune into a business show.
So I guess Aaron Rodgers is stuck in.
Well, he's staying. And so so Aaron Rodgers is staying. Danger Russ is going to the Broncos.
Whatever happened to the days where players stayed with the team that brought them?
Dr. Danny, it's back. We're going back to the business.
Okay, I'm sorry.
We're going back to business.
Well, he's the highest paid.
Right, but business ownership, management didn't take care of the workers to the point that the workers felt loyal to them as well. So they didn't feel that there was loyalty coming from management and ownership. I have to look out for myself. And all of a sudden, now it's like the workers are greedy. Well, the workers got tired of being taken advantage of.
Okay, 47 plus million, whatever. I don't know how much event, but I'm going to talk about Dak a little bit. Dak is in the news lately.
What did he do?
Well, nothing. They can't get his money right. They still can't get his money right. They really want to buy him out. So he wants shorter years, and they're saying, no, we want you. I mean, it's really a plantation mentality. Come on now, Mike. Let's just call it what it is.
It is. I'm not an expert, but football needs to go to that baseball, the A-Rod number, which is, when I say it's 250 million, you are getting every inch of that money. And so the Yankees paid A-Rod to stay away, and he still got every inch of the money. When you hear the big numbers for football, don't believe those numbers, because they will cut you in a minute. When a person has you on the hook for $100 million, they have to think about whether it's worth me sending you packing for $100 million, or whether I'm just going to tolerate you.
Well, all I will say is, I'm glad that our young people are understanding NIL, name, image, and likeness. They need to go into the league owning those things and being able to generate their own money, because they are indeed the product.
We've seen it before in the rap game. The hip hop game changed that business model. You had never seen anyone else understand and work it that same way.
Shout out to Master P.
You better believe it. I'm selling copies of On the Mic with Mike out of the trunk of the car, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we're doing here. All righty, we got to run. Mike King, Dr. Danny. How can people find you out there, Dr. Danny?
You can hit me up on my socials. I'm Dr. Danny G on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
That's right. This is a special edition On the Mic with Mike. Danger Russ has been traded. Going out to Denver. All righty. We got to go, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good day now. Take care.
Out. That was fun.